50 to 45, as I sit here today, PT, and I'm quite agitated, might be the worst singular scorecard that I've ever seen in the history of mixed martial arts. Whomever that person is, and we'll find the scorecard very soon. We'll get it very soon, and we'll tell you his name. Should never be allowed to not only officiate, judge MMA, he should never be allowed in a arena watching MMA, because that is the most despicable scorecard that I've ever seen. 50 to 45 in favor of Usman Nurmagomedov is an absolute disgusting, despicable, laughable scorecard, and that means
My guy, no. Come on, this is please. Here we go. Alhamdulillah. Right there, guys. Come forward for me, please. Right there. It's good. Perfect, guys.
What happened in Dubai today was a disgrace to the sport of MMA. 49-46 Usman is laughable. 50-45 Usman Nurmagomedov is despicable beyond belief. I'm not mad that Usman Nurmagomedov won. A 48-47 scorecard in his favor, fine. But 50-45 makes me call into question the legitimacy of what we just watched. I really don't even know what to say. I had a 48-47 Hughes. I'm not even mad about the result. But 50-45 should be, I'd say investigate it, but who's going to investigate it?
Before we get to our topic today, there is some sad news to share. Arthur Jones, brother of John Jones, has sadly passed away aged 39. Thoughts and prayers with the Jones family at this incredibly difficult time. However, let's get back to the topic, as Usman Nurmagomedov has once again defeated Paul Hughes to become the undisputed PFL lightweight champion. It was a close fight, and Usman got the win via unanimous decision. Khabib Nurmagomedov reacts to Usman Nurmagomedov's win over Paul Hughes by stressing that their dominance is far from over. He explains that the team's non-stop routine of training and discipline makes it extremely difficult for anyone to remove them from the top, which is why he believes they continue to prove themselves as the best in the world.
And today we show he have more age and time ahead. He only 26, 27, and after 5-6 years his prime gonna come. Can you guys imagine? I'm very happy, and thank you so much Dubai for all fans. Thank you guys, thank you for coming, thank you guys for supporting all our team, and we're just beginning, guys. We're gonna be here long days and all nights. It's gonna be very difficult to kick us out from this cage, because all day what we was doing, we train, repeat, eat, train, and that's why we are the best in the world.
However, this fight is making headlines because of the scorecard controversy. Although Usman won, but a lot of pros and fans thought that it was such a close fight that could have gone either way, but the judges surprised everyone with their bizarre scorecard. Ariel Helwani reacts to this epic showdown and calls it a super close and entertaining fight, saying he could accept a 3-2 score for either man. However, he strongly criticizes the judge who scored it 50-45, insisting that person should never be allowed to judge MMA again. Ariel Helwani said, "That was a super close and great fight. I accept 3-2 either way. The judge who had it 50-45 should never be allowed to judge MMA again." Ariel Helwani further reacts to the Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes rematch, admitting he wasn't happy with the outcome. He calls the fight entertaining and competitive, but questions if it lived up to the first meeting. Helwani says he scored it 3-2 for Hughes, giving him the second, third, and fifth, while Usman took the first and fourth. He felt Hughes needed a finish in the final round, but the judges awarded Usman the decision and the PFL lightweight title.
If I'm being 1000% honest with you right now, we just watched a great fight. And sometimes when you have a great first fight and then you look forward to the rematch, you wonder if the rematch could top the first. I don't know right here and now if the second fight, the one that we just witnessed, was better or even as good as the first. What I do know was it was very entertaining, it was very fun to watch, It was not without controversy. In the end, officially, Usman Nurmagomedov is the new PFL lightweight champ. It was a very close fight. I scored it 3 rounds to 2 for Paul Hughes. I gave him the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. Obviously, Usman gets the 1st and the 4th. It was very close. I thought it would go either way, and when I had a 2-2 going into the 5th, I thought Hughes probably needs a stoppage here to ensure the victory. However,
Ariel Helwani blasts at the judging and calls it one of the worst decisions he has ever witnessed in the sport, emphasizing that there is no way Hughes did not win at least 2 rounds. For Helwani, such a score shows a complete lack of fairness and understanding of what actually took place inside the cage. He insists that the judge responsible for turning in that card should never be allowed to judge again or even be inside an MMA arena, calling it a disgrace to the sport and a clear failure to uphold the integrity of competition.
the reason why I am livid right now is because it doesn't feel as though Hughes was playing with the same deck as Mr. Usman Nurmagomedov. And what I mean by that is one judge, PT, had it. If the announcer, who didn't have the best night, if I'm being 100% honest, if he is correct, and we're waiting the scorecards, he announced that one judge had it 50-45 in favor of Usman Nurmagomedov. He had another judge giving it 49-46 in favor of Usman. Now, 49-46 is a 4-1. All right, we're saying 3-2. Still, I don't see how you don't give Paul Hughes at least 2 rounds. 50-45, as I sit here today, PT, and I'm quite agitated, might be the worst singular scorecard that I've ever seen in the history of mixed martial arts. Whomever that person is, and we'll find the scorecard very soon. We'll get it very soon, and we'll tell you his name. Should never be allowed to not only officiate, judge MMA, he should never be allowed in a arena watching MMA, because that is the most despicable scorecard that I've ever seen. 50-45 in favor of Usman Nurmagomedov is an absolute disgusting, despicable, laughable scorecard, and that means that it was not fair terms for Paul Hughes.
However, Usman Nurmagomedov insists that the scorecards were not wide enough and argues that he actually won 50-44. He explains that the first round should have been scored 10-8, making his victory even more decisive in his eyes.
Was 50-45 a fair scorecard?
But I think there was 50-44. My opinion. But
Which round was 10-8?
Huh?
Which round was 10-8?
First round.
Usman Nurmagomedov believes he wins every round in the rematch with Paul Hughes. He admits it is a tough fight against a tough opponent, but stresses that he was not underestimating Hughes. Instead, he feels Hughes underestimated him, which he sees as a mistake.
Okay, so you wanna say this fight was so close too?
Did you feel you won every round?
I feel I was win every round, but it was very tough fight with very tough opponent. I not underestimate you, brother, this time. I think you underestimate me. Maybe you make mistake, but
Gilbert Burns voices his frustration, calling the outcome a robbery not just once, but twice. He feels the judges disrespected Paul Hughes and insists the decision was unfair. Gilbert Burns, the level of disrespect with my guy, Paul Hughes. Not 1 but 2 robberies. However, Dan Hardy gives his breakdown of the fight, scoring it 3-2 for Usman Nurmagomedov. He believes Usman secured rounds 1, 4, and 5 while acknowledging it was a great and competitive matchup. Dan Hardy said, "Great fight. I think Usman took the last round 1, 4, and 5 for Usman." Luke Thomas reacts with surprise at the scorecards following Usman Nurmagomedov's victory over Paul Hughes. He makes it clear that he has no issue with Nurmagomedov winning 3 rounds to secure the decision and the lightweight title. What amazes him are the official scorecards of 50-45, 49-46, and 48-47, which he finds unusual given how close the fight actually was.
Painful and difficult time. Yeah. All right. Moving on from that. Let's talk about this fight, shall we? Let's talk about it. All right. So, scores. We have to start there. Usman Nurmagomedov defeated Paul Hughes just a moment ago via unanimous decision. Zoomed out, I don't have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with the idea that you can give 3 rounds to Nurmagomedov in order to give him.
Leon Murphy sided with Usman, giving him the 1st, 4th, and 5th rounds. Leon Murphy stated, "I had it 3-2 Usman. I think he won 1, 4, 5. Tam Khan criticizes the officials in the Hughes versus Usman rematch, calling the referee possibly the worst in the world. Tam Khan said, "Possibly the worst referee in the world is now officiating the Hughes-Usman rematch at PFL." Terrence McKinney reacts to the scorecards, calling the 50-45 verdict absolutely disgraceful. Terrence McKinney stated, 50-45 is diabolical. Adam Catterall blasts the judging, calling the 50-45 scorecard absolutely disgraceful. He also slams the officials for not deducting a point from Nurmagomedov despite repeated fouls, stressing that Hughes was battling not only Usman but the refereeing as well. Adam Catterall said, 50-45 is absolutely disgraceful. The fact that Nurmagomedov didn't have a point deducted for repeat fouls is also disgraceful. Hughes was up against it, just fighting Usman, never mind the officials too. Eric Jackman was also not happy with the scores, saying he had no issue with 48-47 for Nurmagomedov. However, he blasts any 50-45 scorecard as a pure joke. Eric Jackman had it 48-47 Hughes, no issue with 48-47 Nurmagomedov. 50-45 to anybody is a criminal act. MMA Guru believes Usman Nurmagomedov edged out the fight, but strongly criticizes the officiating. He points to the repeated fouls that went unpunished and calls the judging in Abu Dhabi a recurring issue. In his view, fighters should avoid competing against someone with Usman's backing in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia, as the conditions are stacked against them. MMA Guru said, had Usman Nurmagomedov winning that fight against Paul Hughes 48-47, could maybe see an argument for 49-46. The problem I have is the unpunished fouls of Usman and the 50-45. This constantly happens in Abu Dhabi. Never fight someone with Usman's beliefs in Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia. MMA Guru claims that a UFC lightweight like Esteban Ribovic could push Usman Nurmagomedov just as much as Paul Hughes did, if not beat him outright with higher output. He adds that while Usman might eventually improve in his 30s at the moment, he sees him sitting around the 15-25 range in UFC rankings. MMA Guru added, I honestly think that a UFC fighter at the level of Esteban Ribovic would give Usman Nurmagomedov as much of a run for his money as Hughes did, if not beat him with more output. Usman in his 30s, maybe he can reach the top, but right now he's at the 15-25 range of the UFC rankings. Damon Martin also reacts by calling the scorecards atrocious. He makes it clear that while Usman Nurmagomedov getting the win is acceptable, the fight was far closer than what the judges suggested. Damon Martin said, Usman Nurmagomedov def Paul Hughes, 50-45, 49-46, 48-47. Those scorecards are atrocious. Usman winning is totally fine, but the fight was much closer than that. That wraps up today's video. Share your thoughts on the outcome of this fight. Who do you think won this fight? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel